Okay, it's day 92 here for your pay-to-play update. I'm not going to say Capital Report anymore because it's just the pay-to-play update. And it is this kind of cabal of people. There was a couple of books written about it way back when, called The Power Elite. I can't remember, was it Burroughs that wrote that? I can't remember. But The Power Elite, it's a tight clutch of military figures. I think a lot of them are going to be Navy intelligence or intelligence figures like David Petraeus. The KK&R, kind of those pay-to-play kind of extensions, private companies, SpaceX, Palantir, etc. DynCorp, obviously, on the services side. And then you've got your, maybe a judge here, maybe a judge there. Who knows? I like to think Larry Klayman thinks they're all... There's no hope in D.C. I tend to differ, but we'll see. But this is the pay-to-play update from now on. So I'm just saying, laying the groundwork there. So I just talked to who I'm going to call Deep Oil. Deep Oil, really knowing kind of Texas. But this case, Deep Oil was telling me about a case that he was involved in New Mexico, and near Sandia Lab, as a matter of fact. And they're a very large ranch, and a fight with the FBI, very much like an FBI agent ends up going to jail over it. It costs the family $3 million in defense and so forth. And I won't go much more into that to not personally identify Deep Oil. But the idea here is, if the Power Elite, we'll just call them the Power Elite, the pay-to-play elite, the Podesta Group would be the best representation on that if you wanted to put a face on that. They have the surveys, they have the geological surveys, they have the best information, they have the national laboratories, they have all this information that is for sale. Now, I talked to Deep Uranium as well right before I talked to Deep Oil, and he basically said, in my day, he's 60-ish, in my day, that was called treason. That isn't pay to play, that's just treason. We had a good talk about, he was stationed in Hawaii for a while, and we talked about the Sandia Lab in Hawaii. So we're kind of getting now information coming back from different people with firsthand experience in these different places. And both of them said a lot about satellites. More in the New Mexico facility, there was quite a bit of development work done on the payloads, a lot of payload work. And then in the Hawaii location, there was a lot of done on the actual rocket technology, the telemetry when it's launched. It would be compartmentalized, so these would be different SAPs, these would be different special access programs. So the Navy dive team that went and got the missile head wouldn't know, where it was shot off from, what the payload was. They were just getting the detritus from the launch, etc. And they were kind of like spread out over the different Hawaiian islands. But it really kind of shows you the full flight, no pun intended, of this space technology that we're now kind of pushing out towards SpaceX. And people actually believe the story that, oh yeah, Peter Thiel went from here and he went over there, and Elon Musk went from here and then he went over there and he became a billionaire. He did a crossword puzzle one day and he became a billionaire. And they believe that, just like the Oculus, heads-up display, 3D display with ZeniMax, a 24-year-old who didn't go to school, hey, that's worth $1.5 billion. We'll sell that to, to Facebook. What I'm saying is, Trump isn't liability. Trump got them through the first NDAA, and I think it was $660 billion, and nary a harsh word was spoken. I watched the debate. It was all chopped up. You had to stay there. They did 3 minutes a speech. Corrin did a 3-minute speech, and then you had to wait another hour, and then the next person would speak. And what I'm saying is, if you've kind of watched it last year, it's been a series of soft coups. The 25th Amendment was kind of like we're getting down to the very short straws now. And this shutdown here today, I don't see as any different than that before. It's just another attempt at maybe saying, well, Trump needs to go. They're going to try to smear the 30th on the State of the Union and try to make, I see a whole bunch of attacks coming, and Trump's a racist, Trump's a racist, Trump's a racist. That is the last thing that they can do. And then maybe have a vote in the Senate to impeach if Mueller comes up with something. They're just constantly trying to do this. Now, Trump has one and only one defense. One and only one defense is that publish the 4-page memo. How did that memo become classified? How did the actual playbook of how they did the attack on him become classified. There should be nothing in there that's classified. If there is sources and methods, just white out the source, white out the methods, and just say what happened. Here is a law enforcement agency getting a FISA should not be a classified thing. It should be a matter of public record. That's why we have warrants. That's why you bother to write things down. If not, just forget the whole warrant process. If you're going to classify warrants, that defeats the whole purpose of warrants. So Trump can pick up one pen, sign one thing, and declassify this. Now somebody said, oh, somebody will have to get the Congress back in session, and then somebody will speech and debate exemption, be able to read it into the record and not be arrested for mishandling of classified information. So there's an end around there, potentially. It shouldn't take that. There's no justification for this memo being classified in the first place. This is not really Chuck Schumer and Chuck Schumer's, being about DACA. This is really DOD being mad about not being able to bring in their 650,000. There's probably a lot more than the 650 that they brought in. MABNY is ended, so that vehicle of bringing insurgents, or whatever you want to call them, is over with. So now they need the next thing. They need that illegal immigration. It's not the DACA kids. It's that I use that DACA, name, Luis Gomez or whatever the name is, I use that for my next 10 people that I want to bring in. The DACA kids are innocent victims in all this. They're just a vehicle for the DOD to bring in more people. So I think Trump really needs to think this through and come up with a counter strategy. He needs to tweet about this 4-page memo, not just his son, because it is the key. When people see that this was a soft coup, yet another attempt at a soft coup, all these things are soft coups, the public opinion will swing. If you don't, get ready for the next 10 soft coups. There's really no choice. The only defense here is sunlight. Sunlight is the only defense. And as a matter of fact, today we've got nice sunlight.